All right, Jim, welcome back. Really appreciate our conversation and hearing your story and all that great stuff that you're doing right now, with Danby and before. And along the way, like us, you've probably been influenced a couple of times by some people. And we talked about refugees and immigrants. And, a couple of my grandparents were from Kiev, and I used to take, in Montreal, my grandfather would take me on walks in the park. And one time I asked him that I'm Jewish. I said, Zeta, how do you know all these people? And he said, I actually don't know any of them, but when I smile at them, they smile back at me. And then they actually start talking to me. So I talk to them and they become my friends. And I kind of got it when he told me that at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever years old. But then as usual, when you get older, you say, man, that was bloody brilliant, if you will. And that's one of many influencers I've had. Can you share 2 or 3 people that have been an influence in your life?
Absolutely. So I think we're all influenced by our parents. And one of my big influencers was my father, who was, I call him Depression era. So he came from sort of, there's not going to be a lot of plentiful here. And, you have to be frugal. And I got that, which has helped me in business. And frugal, it does not mean cheap. Frugal means just getting value for your money, not spending if you don't need to, don't spend ahead of what you earn. So I got that from him, and huge respect for him. The other person, which I already talked about, is Frank Hasenfratz, who was a refugee from Hungary, who came, and he actually was working at Danby, Danby's sister company, Woods, and they saw they were buying a bunch of metal brackets. He said, how much do you pay for those? I said, $3. He said, well, if I could provide them to you for $250, would you buy them from me? And how many did you buy? 100,000 or whatever. So they said, sure. And so he bought a machine, put it in his garage, and started making these widgets. And then he needed more machines. And so he had a modest house, and he built his factory right next door and then he started making car parts. And then, of course, he started making more money. So he put an addition on the house. Then he put another addition. And pretty soon it was all chopped to pieces, his house. But it was bigger then. And so he tore it down and built a huge house on the property. The problem is, to this day, it's right next to now what is a rundown factory. Like it's not. So. And he passed on like 2 weeks ago. So that was a real shock. He sat on my board for 10 years. I played bridge with him every other Thursday night for 20 years, and he had a great sense of humor. And basically he taught me that overcoming adversity is one of it's like. People say you've got IQ and EQ, and I'd say AQ, which is adversity quotient. If you can overcome adversity, and at the same time, every problem is a little problem. That's all it is. It's just little challenges, right?
Well, first of all, sorry for that loss, because he sounds like a wonderful human being all the way around. And so that is always, always sad. And, my mom used to always say similar to that, if that's the worst thing that happens to you today, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
So I can kind of relate to that. That's fantastic. Anyone else you'd want to share?
Well, the others that obviously I don't know whether I say I aspire to be, but Mother Teresa and Gandhi and the people that were very selfless. I just looked up to people who, and it wasn't until later in life that I realized maybe I can take on some of what they do, and I'm nowhere near as good as they are, but they definitely had an impact.
Yeah, they definitely do and did for all of us. And I'm not sure I know what you mean. We're not as good as they are, but we all have that greatness in us to just be kind. And, so it's there, but tremendous choice of influencers. I would agree with that for sure. So thanks for keeping the legacy going. And it's really been great. I really appreciate you sharing all that.
Thank you.